Well, the tree of liberty is not water with the blood of patriots. What's happened is that there never been, if you want to think you need to have weapons to take on the government, you need F-15s and maybe some nuclear weapons.
Democrats are set to take control of the U.S. Senate, House, and the White House.
This will go down as one of the most progressive administrations in American history.
God willing, everything is on the table.
You now can pass things without a filibuster threat.
That's right.
Oh, you'll regret this, and you may regret it a lot sooner than you think.
You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
That might be the single dumbest.
Incredible take, right? I mean, so
I'm not even sure I get it. Like, I don't even know what he was saying, really.
The best is on Twitter. I saw a bunch of tweeting hashtag hands up, don't nuke. Biden is just like, you know what? If you have an AR-15, you're going to catch a nuke.
Well, he was kind of getting in and out of what liberals have been struggling with for generations to try to interpret the literal interpretation of the Second Amendment.
Right.
And, you know, like the well-regulated militia component, I think is what he's talking about. But then he got into the blood of patriots.
Yeah, wasn't it Jefferson who said that? He was like, you know what, folks? I kind of know better than the founding fathers.
So they've basically gone past arguing the well-regulated militia now. Now they're saying, the Second Amendment, even if you have the right to bear arms as an individual, there's no point in doing it because we could nuke you.
Yeah, because we could nuke you. We could nuke you.
And
right?
it's also kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, if that's your position, you're just going to encourage Americans to buy more guns, right? Like,
it's just the dumbest. It also is just stream of consciousness idiocy.
Right.
Right. It just, but it's classic Biden. And so anyway, that's our new position here on the Second Amendment, according to the President of the United States. Welcome to the Ruthless Variety Program. We got a big special Friday show today. Larry Kudlow is with us.
Let's go.
I mean, that's an awesome guest that we had. I mean, I've been a fan of his for years. The guy's a legend on Wall Street. Also helped President Trump with his extremely successful economy. So
totally, and a complete stud. Great of him to do it. Talked us through the economy. I thought provided some interesting things that I hadn't quite thought about before. So I'm all fired up about that. We got a lot of other stuff, but we also have a couple of games we got to get to. A couple of big games.
Yeah, it's today's Kudlow and Candy.
Kudlow and Candy.
Let's go.
Give the people what they want.
Let's go. Should we start before?
It's Kudlow and Candy Day.
Kudlow and Candy. You might as well open it early. Have you guys seen this thing making its rounds on Twitter about Brandeis University?
Yes, it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
This is the picnic thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So they've got on their website, they have what they would call violent language, right? And literally what they say is violent language that may be explicitly or implicitly violent expressions and metaphors that are used casually or unintentionally. And these are examples that can be replaced by saying something different. So they go through a bunch of things. Like the first one on it is killing it.
Yeah, like if you tell someone, oh, he's absolutely killing it, they're like, no.
Oh, that's violent language.
Yeah, that's violent language. Instead, you should say great job or awesome.
Right?
And the explanation is like, if someone is doing well, we don't need to equate that to murder, and exclamation point. Like, they are absolutely shocked.
Right. So they go through this list of things in various levels of outrage, and then they get to the word picnic. And I was like, what the hell? I'd never heard that before for picnic. And then I read the explanation that they provided at Brandeis University, and I was horrified.
Yeah, it's horrific.
Horrified. I was like, is that true? I can't believe that word has stood this long if that is true. But we looked it up.
It turns out it's completely made up.
So what is their assertion of the origin of the word picnic?
Well, so I'll read it directly. I don't want to get anything wrong here. It's horribly offensive. The term picnic is often associated with lynchings of black people in the United States, in which white spectators were said to have watched people eating, referring to them as picnics, or other terms involving racial slurs against black people. I read that, and I was like, holy cats, I had no idea that was the derivation of that word.
Right.
And then we looked it up.
It turns out that is completely false. It comes from a French term. What was the French term?
Pique-nique?
Yeah, it's not
from
exactly.
like the 1600s, right? 1642, and it was like a term for outdoor dining.
Yeah. Well,
And I think didn't Reuters also do?
yeah. So there's that there's all kinds of fact checks that come up on this. Fact check. Reuters does this one. The word picnic does not originate from racist lynchings.
I mean, how the hell? And this is a university, and Brandeis University especially is just one of these like factories for this crazy left-wing nonsense. Like they're always coming up with this stuff, and the problem is, like, of course the media never, all these ideas that were like radical 10 years ago, they get mainstreamed. They get completely mainstreamed. So without having, I'm shocked that Reuters actually took the time to do a fact check on this. Usually they're like partially true, even though it's like completely wrong.
So I just looked it up. Brandeis University has a $1 billion endowment.
Unbelievable.
Incredible.
Right.
We should tax the shit out
Yes,
of
we
that.
should. But you know what I thought was funniest on the Brandeis list is of like terms that are triggering. Trigger warning.
Oh, it's triggers.
Trigger warning is triggering. I mean, like that's where we are now. It's an endless cycle.
This I think dovetails to another conversation we've been having in politics right now, which is like critical race theory. And what liberals have tried to do is basically couch all of critical race theory into this idea that we don't teach enough history of racism and slavery and all this stuff in America, which of course is not true. And look, I'm all for a public debate on teaching more about things like the Tulsa Massacre and things like that, or like things we did to the Native Americans that were bad. Yes, sure, let's but what this shows is a perfect illustration of what the actual motives when they say history are, is they just want to make up new things to be outraged about.
It's incredible. It's like this is literally no basis in fact.
Right.
And for somebody who comes upon it with good intentions, as I did today, you read it and I'm horrified.
Right.
Yep.
If I didn't have the wherewithal to do a Google search after that, I would have been like, forever changed my language. I mean, it's truly, it's remarkable.
It is.
He's, man.
And this is part of it. So, perfect seg into our next topic is a new survey confirms that American news media is the world's least trusted.
Yeah.
So the Poynter Institute surveyed 92,000 people in 46 different countries and found just 29% in the U.S. believe the news, compared to 45% in Canada and 54% in Brazil. That's like that tells you everything. They made their bed, now they're sleeping in it.
But particularly when you consider the slope, and I don't know if they have historical rankings here, but it wasn't too long ago
point.
when, network news is a pretty trusted thing in this country.
Yeah.
I mean, you could disagree with what they covered or whatnot, but generally speaking, I think most Americans thought these are factual news points that are happening in the world, and I'm learning about it. I may have a perspective, but they're giving me the actual news. Now, nobody thinks that.
Nope.
Basically, nobody thinks that. 29% of the U.S. believe in news. For all of the journos out there, that 29% might just be the journos.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
But I think it correlates to exactly what you were talking about earlier, Holmes, which is like, now people can seek information out on the internet on their own. So when you read something about how picnic is a racist word, you can Google it and find out, no, that's wrong. And so now forever your opinion of Brandeis is changed.
Yeah.
Right? And in the old days where it was, the big three network news, people didn't really have that option.
Right.
Right? And so now with everybody's got a computer in their pocket. Everyone has a smartphone.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right? So we have more agency in determining what is truth.
That's true.
And also, I think the past few years were very informative in the sense that a lot of journalists, I mean, for a number of given reasons, whether they wanted a book deal, whether they wanted more followers on Twitter, whether they wanted attention, were like, okay, if I go hard anti-Trump, I can get X done. I can get myself a book deal. I can get myself noticed. I can get promoted. And they jumped on that. Like, they went from journalists to activists, pretty quickly and pretty significantly. And I think that, like, polarization is a huge problem now in the news business. Like, if you ask anyone what do they consider to be a source of truth, right? And now it's impossible to find anyone that the vast majority of Americans would agree for.
That's totally true.
Yeah.
And they've taught a whole new generation of American journalists the wrong way to do their jobs. right? I thought a pretty good example, we covered it on Tuesday, but a pretty good example was this Sheldon Whitehouse
Oh yeah.
all-white club that, like, you know, was bouncing around the internet like crazy. There wasn't a single network news that talked about it. There wasn't a single...
Manu Raju, why didn't you run him down?
Yeah.
You know, you're waiting outside those elevators. Why didn't you go after Sheldon? It's interesting, right?
Nothing. And it took there's such a lack of intellectual curiosity. We talked about this with Tucker.
Yep.
There's such a lack of intellectual curiosity. It actually took Sheldon Whitehouse, who put out a statement where he copped the fact that he was a member of a sailing club entirely separate from the beach club that's also all white.
But it gets even worse. So news got out that Sheldon belongs not to one, not to two, but 3 all-white clubs.
Oh, come on.
So he's a member of that Bailey's Beach Club, which was the first that, you know, got reported out. Then he also belongs to that yacht club. And then he also belongs to what's called Newport's The Reading Room, an all-white exclusive men's club on Bellevue Avenue next to the Viking Hotel. So he got the Triple Crown. Guy went for the hat trick of all-white clubs.
Well, maybe if the entire press corps wasn't staked out outside Kirsten Sinema's office, asking her for the 50th time if she's going to get rid of the filibuster, maybe they could do their jobs and track down some news.
Seriously, they're not going to just walk like one block, talk to Sheldon, do your job, and they refuse to. It's pathetic.
I had a joke. I'm going to keep it to myself or I'll get canceled. But hey, let's play a game, guys.
Let's play a game.
Let's play a game.
It's Candy and
It's
Kudlow.
candy time.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right.
So we're bringing back King of the Hill.
King of the Hill it is.
Oh, fantastic. Who do you guys have for us this week? So, Smug, you have the reigning champion
Reigning
now.
champion,
Radio Free Tom.
Nichols,
Yep.
expert of experts.
I thought long and hard about this, and I thought ultimately, like, why overthink this? Just bring the queen back. So I got Jennifer Brainworms Rubin.
Oh, yes.
And it's so good all the time. You know, you're never really disappointed by her. But the real challenge with her in selecting, kind of curating her tweets, is to figure out, like, what stands above the rest. Because any one of them could qualify.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
All right, well, let's go ringside.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Welcome back to King of the Hill, brought to you by the Ruthless Variety Program. It's time for our main event. In the red corner, hiding out of the Washington Post, standing 5 feet 4 inches tall, a former champion and current Hack Madness Queen, Jennifer Brainworms Rubin.
And now, in the blue corner, hiding out of the Harvard Extension campus, standing 5 feet 9 inches tall, Tom Radio Free Nichols.
Okay.
I'm excited for this matchup.
Fantastic. I mean, yeah, it's nice to have Jennifer Rubin back.
It is. She's such a deserving champion. And I think I got a good shot today. Radio Free Tom is always a tough out. He's come on late. Been very tough over the last month, 6 weeks or so. But I think I got what it takes today.
Okay, so reigning champion, Smug has to go first in round 1 and round 3. So let's hear it.
Yeah, honestly, I was waiting to see if Holmes would drop the take
Yeah,
first.
right.
I know.
But anyways.
You're a gamer. You're a true gamer.
I'm so used to being a champion.
Oh.
I got you know what? Let's start this off with a little bit of fire. Tom Nichols, on June 20th, he's replying to some folks. Absolutely not. Trump was a sitting president who sympathized with Nazis and white supremacists and had to be wrestled into disavowing David Duke himself. No way I'm dropping that analogy. Voting for Trump is no better than voting for Duke.
Hold on. What's the context of this?
So he's just arguing with people on the internet, as he typically is.
You got to catch him in a reply.
That's the thing.
That's the thing with this guy.
You got to go through tweets and replies.
God, that's sort of a near tandem.
He was basically just like replying to people, being like, "So Trump is like a Klan member, and then all his voters are also Klan members." That was his take, and he dropped it in one little nuclear take at 10:30 at night. Tom, you should be in bed. Go to sleep. Put the phone down. Voting for Trump is no better than voting for Duke. That's insane. That's insane. He accused how many? Like 70 million people?
Right.
Incredible.
Good old boomer reply at 10:30 at night.
It's a go to sleep, boomer.
We love the boomers on this podcast.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I am one, so.
I've got so many. I'm just trying to trim this down.
A real embarrassment of riches over there.
So many.
You know, the weirdest part about this game is now that we play it so often, like I don't check their Twitter anymore.
Yeah, right.
Because I know I'm gonna get it curated, the best stuff.
It's so good.
Oh yes.
Okay, so I think I got to go with this because it's just so crazy. Through his presence at Tulsa and signing Juneteenth, Biden has done more to educate Americans about our racial history than any in my lifetime, at a time when ours want mass amnesia.
I can't compete. Let's be serious.
Wait.
Any in her lifetime.
She is not a young woman.
How old is Jennifer?
But I don't think you have to live very long in order to experience the first black president.
Right.
That's my point. It's like she's saying that Joe Biden has done more to educate Americans about our racial history than any in my lifetime. What? Other than calling GOP voting bills Jim Crow 2.0, where does the education come from? What the hell is she talking about? No, seriously, what the hell is she talking about? He signed a Juneteenth bill?
Right.
It declared it a holiday? That's how he's done more to educate Americans about our racial history than any in her lifetime. That is truly, God bless her.
Yeah, it's revealing, I would say. There's like a shallowness to it that's really just incredible, which is like to be expected from her Twitter feed.
Mm-hmm. But also, like, to say that about somebody who's after the first black president in her lifetime is really something.
Like literally, he was Barack Obama's vice president. Like he you know what I mean?
So
like you have to go out of your way to ignore
Omit.
Barack Obama.
You have to omit
Yes.
Barack Obama, the
Yes.
first president. Think about how crazy that is.
Okay. They're both really good. All Trump supporters are racist.
All Trump supporters are like David Duke supporters.
David Duke supporters, or the erasure of Barack Obama. I gotta give it to Ruben. Holmes wins round one.
It's
All right,
impossible.
all right.
And what makes it, I didn't even add this, but what makes it even a little bit better is the fact that she was a Republican at the time during Barack Obama.
Right.
So she like very basically opposed him the whole way.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So she
It's like
got him on both ends.
full
Now
race.
that she's a Democrat, she doesn't even recognize Obama.
So bad.
Okay. So
Now I go.
now you go round two.
Okay. The question is whether I go for a knockout here. All right, I'm going to say I'm going to use this one. So this is in the context of Senator Warner, old-time Virginian senator who passed away this week. There was his memorial service. Joe Biden gave the eulogy, right? Eulogy for Warner is such a skewering of today's R's who have none of his admirable qualities. It's like a sad
just-
event. It's a sad
You're
event.
spiking the football at the guy's funeral service.
Turning it into like a pure
A pep rally.
Oh, I got this.
This eulogy totally owns Trump, guys.
It's so hard to get through her stuff.
I've missed Jen Rubin so much.
She's so bad.
Smug, what do you got for us?
Okay. This is from Tom Nichols, who's now trying to become the king of gaslighting. June 20th. It's good to debunk all this, but it won't matter. Critical race theory for conservatives now means any discussions I don't like about race. As is always the case, the strategy is to inject these terms into the popular bloodstream but not give a shit about accuracy.
Ooh, so he
Hold on. This is a tweet in support of critical race theory?
Yep. Basically saying, it's that gaslighting that, conservatives don't know what critical race theory is. Like, they have a two-pronged attack. Number one, they say that conservatives don't know what critical race theory is. And then number two, they say, wait, it doesn't exist.
Right.
Just because,
Pick one.
you see it on, school board curriculums doesn't mean that's actually there. Like, are you going to trust your lying eyes?
right, and he's kind of gone.
He's gone whole hog. Straight up that... He's really tapped into, I guess, his, lib followers really love his takes on race. Because he's gotten full on into, everyone who voted for Trump's a Klansman. He's going now into... No conservative knows what critical race theory means.
He's figured out the algorithm.
Yeah, and he's trying to say, critical race theory means any discussion
It's
about
the
race.
wine mom algorithm is what it is.
Yeah.
He's got it.
He's nailed it.
Yeah. That's why you can talk about first class and such.
Right. Right.
Excellent.
Those people have never talked to a poor person.
Right. Right. That's pretty good.
Wow. Can you read that one more time, Smug?
Absolutely. It's good to debunk all this, but it won't matter. Critical race theory for conservatives now means any discussion I don't like about race. As is always the case, the strategy is to inject these terms into the popular bloodstream, but not give a shit about accuracy.
Like Russiagate?
And that's the thing is, it's
like ties to the Kremlin.
It's like the complete lack of awareness.
They did that for 4 fucking years.
Bingo! He's been part of the whole group that's been just pushing this nonsense into the mainstream.
You guys know what's happening now.
I
know the judge and jury's going with Smug.
Smug got that second reading. It was a nice presentation, Smug, because I know you put the judge and the jury on the track that he's most comfortable
Got me heated.
with.
Got me very, very heated.
Mm-hmm.
They always accuse us of what they're actually doing.
Yeah.
So that is 1-1, sudden death, third round.
Let's go.
You got to go first, Smug.
I love it, and this is a great one.
Let's go.
Another just brainworm take from June 18th. This is such a bad idea, but sure, why shouldn't some Catholic bishops lead a political attack on only the second Catholic president? I mean, there's no way that could backfire on the church or anything. Disclaimer, I'm not Catholic, but I know a bad idea when I see one.
Oh, Jesus.
From the expert of experts, the death of expertise. Full disclaimer, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay, what I just got to say it. What I love about that tweet is it's like that meme where it's like Jesus talked about helping the poor. So you're not a Christian. Of course, I'm an atheist, and this logic wouldn't work on me. But as a Christian,
Totally.
you know what I mean?
Totally.
It's like anytime a lib quotes the Bible,
Yeah.
Like they're gonna change your opinion. I look down on you my entire life, but I wanted to use the Bible,
Your scripture.
Yeah,
I want to use your scripture.
yeah,
against
something
you.
I don't understand against you.
Which
Are you convinced now, idiot?
it's pretty good.
That's great.
pretty good.
That is a really good one for round 3.
It really is. I've got 2 that I've been wrestling with. I mean, I'm really wrestling with this. Both I think play well with the judge and the jury. But I'm really this is a flip of the coin. I don't know which one is right. I feel like I've got to go with. Okay, I'm going to go with this one. Most critical. McConnell doesn't control the R caucus. His most rational R's do. Why not just make Romney majority leader? Coming the week that they voted in unison against the Democrat voting sham bill.
Right. I guess the thing I love about Jennifer Rubin is like she's so shamelessly transparent in her hackery. You know, like she put up a tweet the other day. I saw this one because somebody had RT'd it or quote tweeted it, where she's like, the big news is Republicans just voted against national voter ID.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. So
S1.
I almost picked that.
You know, but I mean, this is that same sort of vein here.
Totally.
You know,
it's like, this isn't true, but I'd like it to be.
Right.
And so I'm going to say it with authority.
With authority. With authority, as if she's going to fucking Jedi mind trick us into doing what she wants. Right. I got to hand it to her, you know? It's like, it's at least a novel. Nobody's tried it before.
Nobody's tried it.
She really is blazing a new path.
She's very good at it. I got to say, Smug, this might be the most epic battle we've ever had.
It's really
Disclaimer, I'm not Catholic, but I know a bad idea when I see one.
Majority Leader Romney.
I don't believe in these sacraments, but they should give them to Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Man, this is a real coin flip.
Really is.
I think I got to give it to Radio Free Tom.
Oh.
That was close. That was close.
Can I ask you whether this one would have swayed? Because these are the two that I was on it. Here's the other one.
Yeah.
Whereas Klain is described by allies and colleagues as sober, serious, policy-focused, Ricchetti reflects Biden's freewheeling extroversion, a gregarious, jovial schmoozer. Hey, Ron is fun, too.
Wow. I do love the certain brand of Jen Rubin take that has an audience of like 3 people in town.
Yeah, it's just Ron.
It's just Ron. He just wants to get an RT from Ron.
Just Ron and Ricchetti.
So thirsty for those RTs. Look.
I think the one I chose is better.
Was better. Ultimately, my decision there was that Radio Free Tom, like, basically insulted like an entire community of Catholics, and then has no shame about
just
saying
claimed that he has no idea.
I'm not a Catholic, you know, but which is just, I think, adds another level to it, and that's why he deserves the victory.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I'll take it on the chin. But I will say, she put up a hell of a fight, as she always does. I'll be back again next week.
All right. Well, with that out of the way, I wanted to get into one of my favorite topics. A topic that you're essentially not allowed to talk about. I'm talking about Hunter Biden, folks.
Yes.
And this is a story that basically no one is covering. Which is pretty much par of the course for Hunter at this point. You know, if
charmed life.
If there's some bad news about Hunter, first, you'll get blocked on social media for discussing it, and then Dems will say this is Russian disinformation, and then they wait till the election's over and they say actually all of it was true. But so what we have today is that apparently Hunter Biden has a 10% stake in a Chinese firm which invested in Chinese Communist Party linked companies the U.S. sanctioned, and a tech company which assisted abuses against the Uyghur people, and a nuclear company which sought to acquire U.S. nuclear tech.
Wow.
I mean, come on. This is just unbelievable.
I mean, like, what will it take? What will it take for this guy to be in the news at all? It's like, the entire media is just shielding this guy no matter what he does.
It's what's so interesting about it is there's such an incredible volume of information on this guy.
Yeah.
That I feel like you ever see that episode of The Simpsons where Burns, Mr. Burns has all of these diseases and he goes to the doctor and he's like, you are basically invincible because you have all these diseases, and he pulls all these little like stuffed animals and tries to put them through a door frame, and he's like, all the diseases are trying to kill you at the same time, and none of them can get through, and that's kind of like Hunter Biden. So just to recap, in like the last week, the text came out that he was basically he's using his cousin to procure women for him,
right?
That he calls Asian women yellow.
Yep.
That he had a multi-day drug and sex binge at Chateau Marmont.
And wasn't it using his father's checking account?
Apparently connected in some way. I don't know. That's allegedly in the reporting. And now this story.
And now this.
Well, let's also add, like, there's a sex tape of Hunter Biden out there.
I mean, it's
like nobody's even talked about.
Oh
that.
wait, I think that might be Russian disinformation.
No, I mean, that's literally what people said.
Yeah.
There is a sex tape of him out in existence that was on the Daily Mail, right? That like nobody even. Can you imagine if like Ivanka or Don Jr. had something like that?
Oh God.
Do you think for a second that would be shielded from public view?
Absolutely not. Of course not.
At what point would it be compromise against the White House?
Exactly. That would be the story. That would be
Right.
the story. And they even when they asked Hunter Biden point blank, they're like, "Is this laptop thing? Is this due to the Russians? Do you think this is the Russians behind this?" And he said, "I don't know, maybe." It's like, okay.
Oh yeah, but it's a perfect like the kid who gets in trouble in junior high, and they're like, "What happened? Did somebody talk you into this?" You're like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Could be.
So the Washington Examiner actually did cover this, and it says here, BHR, which counts Hunter Biden as a former board member and current significant stakeholder, has made extensive investments in multiple controversial Chinese companies, including Megvii Technology, sanctioned in 2019 for its alleged participation in China's repression and high-technology surveillance in Xinjiang, and the state-owned China General Nuclear Power Group, blacklisted in 2019 for having allegedly attempted to acquire U.S. nuclear technology for military use in China.
It's blacklisted?
Yeah.
He's invested in a company that's blacklisted?
Yep.
Come on, man. No, I'm serious.
Come on, man.
This is really unbelievable.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that, like, remember how we were being told, if we elect Biden, this means we're going to have a pristine administration. There'll be no corruption.
Return to norms. Yeah.
Return to norms. And the media, that's the thing is, they want to pretend that attacking Hunter Biden is going after a guy with a drug problem. The Hunter Biden story is about the Biden crime family, all right? The Biden crime syndicate. They're peddling influence abroad while Joe pretends to be this man of the people.
Well, and also I love the framing in the media about how, we're attacking Joe Biden's boy, his family. And it's like, this guy's like 50 years old.
Yeah.
Well, was everybody asleep for the last 4 years?
Yeah.
I mean, what are you kidding me? Like, I can only imagine Ivanka sitting somewhere in Miami like, excuse me?
Yeah, seriously.
Hello? Like, I'm pretty sure they had the media attacking her for 2 weeks because at some point one of the lines in her apparel company made something close to China.
Right.
This guy's invested in blacklisted companies.
And
do you remember
what
that?
kind
Yes.
of companies? Like ones that are trying to steal American nuclear technology for the Chinese military, and one that's like using tech to suppress Uyghurs. Like, this is insane. But
Wow.
That's our media for you.
There you go.
You know what? I think that's honestly a perfect seg into our next game, folks.
Oh, another game.
That's
Candy,
right.
Candy and Kudlow.
Candy and Kudlow.
It's time for Dem or Journo. Let's hit the music.
Dem or Journo, 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 Dem or Journo. Nobody knows.
All right. I'm ready for this. I like this. This is a fun game.
I love it so much.
It's a really fun game.
It's a fun game, and
we had good fodder this week.
Well, it's nice because it sort of flips King of the Hill on its head.
Mm-hmm.
You guys get to do the same process of discovery, the fun part that I get to do in King of the Hill. So let's get right to it. All of these are going to be themed on HR1, S1, the For the People Act, the vote in the Senate.
Nice.
So a lot of content.
A lot of content.
And also, to clarify, this is going to be...
It's going to get the rules wrong again.
How many Dem operatives and how many journos?
I want you to guess. What
Actually,
the game
that's the
is.
first game.
Yeah.
The first game is Smug guessing.
Does he know the rules?
Yeah.
They're all journos and one operative.
Yeah.
Hey,
he
Look
did
at
it.
that, folks.
Look at that.
This is just for the folks at home.
What a clutch player.
I credit Tucker Carlson for teaching.
teaching Smug the
rules
game. So, again, for our listeners, that's 3 members of the media and 1 Dem operative. I will read all 4 statements, and then the 2 two fellas here will make their pick. Okay. Statement number 1. There could be a silver lining for Democrats in the ongoing battle over voting rights.
Oh, Jesus.
The issue is a major motivator for progressives. It may serve to drive enthusiasm among black voters.
Okay.
A Democratic stand to protect our democracy met a solid Republican wall of opposition. Senate Republicans opposed even a debate.
Okay.
Statement number 3. A sweeping Democratic voting rights bill was set to die with a whimper. Senate Republicans prepared to use their filibuster power to kill it.
Okay. These are all just unbelievable.
Yeah, they really are.
Senate Republicans blocked voting rights reform bill despite unified Democratic support.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Those are the 4.
So hold on. First, let me just make an observation about all 4 of these, which is, if you're calling this voting rights, you're a hack of the highest order.
Yep.
Yes.
The highest order. There is nothing about voting rights in here. Not a single thing. It's a bunch of campaign finance stuff that deals with taxpayers funding things, disclosing nonprofits, bunch of that stuff, and then mandating from the federal government how states conduct their elections.
Right.
It has absolutely nothing to.
It's a federal takeover of elections.
There's not a single American who is currently disenfranchised who would be enfranchised by this particular bill. So
Right.
therefore, it just pollutes the Voting Rights Act,
Yep.
pollutes the very idea that generations of civil rights leaders have literally died for,
Right.
in trying to put this piece of garbage bill in that category.
You know what's so interesting, and I think the Democrats actually succeeded in one way. They called it Jim Crow, what the Republicans were. So they almost kind of like moved the Overton window
you're
to
right.
the left.
100%.
And then the new center of gravity in the debate became, well, this is a voting rights bill.
It's not
people agree, people disagree, yada, 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 but it's a voting rights bill, you know?
It doesn't
because
have a single-
the alternative is Jim Crow.
By the way, none of this has any implications in terms of like racial equities.
Right.
None of it.
Right.
It's just pure fiction. Okay. These are all really unbelievable.
Let me know if you need me to read one of these again.
I've got one that I'd like you to read again. I'd like to read number 2.
Okay. A Democratic stand to protect our democracy met a solid Republican wall of opposition. Senate Republicans opposed even a debate.
Okay. Okay.
I think I got mine.
I think
You
I
got
know what.
yours?
So how do we do you want me to like him just to show fingers and so it doesn't? So
we're
don't
gonna
know.
be super fair about this.
Let's
I think we should be super fair.
let's be super fair. I'm
Well,
gonna
see,
take
this is like, you know, we're doing this in studio now for the listeners at
I'm
home.
gonna turn
so-
around
Okay.
so he can just show the fingers.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
This is my guess for Dem.
Okay.
Alrighty. And then,
Smug has entered his guess.
all right.
Okay.
That's up to you. Go
And
for
then
it.
I think, you know, you can do it however you want, and he can interject for his.
Well, let me.
But you should
I'm gonna-
give your answer
I'm gonna-
up top.
I should give my answer up top. My answer up top is number 2.
Ooh, interesting.
What was your answer?
Mine was 3, and here's my thing on number 2 is I guess that's a Journo because it's so wild. I think Duncan picked it to throw us off.
That's a good. That's
It's
a good
strategy.
It
I
is
thought
a
he's
good
trying
strategy.
to like, reverse psychology.
So let me just walk through because I do this a little bit differently than you do without the magic and the intuition.
That's what I roll with.
I do with roughly a couple decades of talking to journos. Silver lining, journo tip. Silver lining is always the way for them to give what their view of the sunny optimism
that's
side of why Democrats and themselves should be okay
Right.
with all of this. Silver linings. Every time you hear silver lining, no operative says it. Journos love that.
Okay.
Whimper is a You see that in the lead a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I thought it was Journo. It could very well be an operative, but I thought I don't think really a operative is going to call their own effort a whimper.
Okay.
And then 4, I just thought was just straight up Journo. I didn't even think that was. I thought that was just straight up Journo. So the reason I settled on 2 was because the entire spin from Democratic operatives was a process one. It wasn't about the underlying substance because they had to get Joe Manchin on board.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to get Joe Manchin on board, they had to say it was even a debate. Right? Because it wasn't about the substance which Joe Manchin opposed.
Right.
It was about the debate over voting rights.
You know, what I recall is when Democrats filibustered Tim Scott's police reform bill, nobody wrote about how Democrats refused to even debate stopping police brutality.
No.
Right?
No.
That's weird how that gets framed. But Holmes is correct. Number 2 is actually that's Joe Biden. Joe Biden said that.
Yeah, even a debate.
That is incredible.
Number 1 was Alexandra Jaffe from Associated Press.
Perfect.
Number 3 was the New York Daily News, and number 4 was ABC News.
Yeah, that's ABC is just unbelievable.
I gotta read. I chose not to include this one because it was Greg Sargent, and he writes for the blog at the Washington Post. But I did find this tweet, which I just thought was so incredible in its advocacy. Joe Manchin will vote to move to debate on voting rights legislation. This is a real step forward. It means that something like Manchin's compromise could pass the Senate if the filibuster were ended. That should force a debate on the real consequences of keeping it. I mean, that's just
nuts,
like you might as well go and work for American Bridge.
That is nuts.
I can't believe the Washington Post actually pays somebody to write that in their own paper.
Hell, they pay Jen Rubin, and
unbelievable.
it's like, oh well.
They're basically the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a little bit more thoughtful. But you know what? We split the games today.
There you go.
We split the games.
And
What
there
a
are
great
games
episode.
aplenty.
It's nice.
All right, let's get to this interview because Larry Kudlow is the man, and he's funny, and he provided some context in the economy that I think everybody's really going to enjoy. I want to welcome to the program Larry Kudlow, the host of Kudlow on Fox Business and the former director of the National Economic Council for President Trump. Larry, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Listen, I think the last time I saw you, I was walking through the White House shortly after sort of the pandemic had begun, and I took a measure of confidence and comfort in knowing that you were helping to guide economic policy, something that I basically have no confidence in the Biden administration. Give me your assessment on how this crew is doing.
Well, they're just going wrong way. I mean, they want to reverse all of President Trump's pro-growth policies, tax cuts, minimizing regulations, energy independence. They are rabid antitrust. Basically, you look at the headlines and you look at the kind of spending and taxing that they're proposing. You look at what they're doing. What was it? Just yesterday, I saw what was this prairie chicken thing that they wanted to put up. It's an endangered species, prairie chicken, and the only problem with that is the range of the prairie chicken would shut down about 75% of our oil.
Incredible.
It runs right through it, including the Permian Basin. So
I'm sure the prairie chicken is a charming animal, but I don't think it's that charming.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I had Mike Huckabee on the show, and his idea was we should be eating more chickens, and then he said that it's just so great. He said we should be eating more chickens, and we should. Oh, I know what it was. Tyson's Food down in Arkansas.
Oh yeah.
Said that the roosters are not producing enough chickens. So my thought was, instead of endangered species, which would destroy 75% of our oil, we should just put some Viagra into the food of the roosters.
Problem solved.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that kind of out.
I'm a pragmatist. I've always been a pragmatist.
Well, it's that kind of outside the box thinking that built the strongest economy of our couple of generations, Larry. Let me ask you a couple of specific questions. One, a big concern that we've had, that we've talked about a lot on the program, is inflation, and the fact that Americans across the country are paying, 3 or 4 times for daily household items what they were a year ago. What's your level of concern?
Well, look, I'm of two minds on the inflation story. Number one, there's no question the inflation numbers are heating up. I happen to think it's mostly a one-off because of the strong rebound from the pandemic. The pandemic's a funny thing. A lot of economists, either for political reasons or just stupidity, didn't understand that you're having a natural disaster, a natural disaster catastrophe. That's different than an ordinary recession or a deep recession or a depression.
Right.
Because when the disaster passes, think of it as like a gigantic, horrible hurricane. But when the hurricane passes, if the underlying business situation was good, then it'll snap back. So, a year ago, I was arguing the V-shaped recovery. I was getting my brains beaten in as a White House communicator. But I think that's what's happened. The economy has come back much stronger. So a lot of prices that collapsed and a lot of supply chains that collapsed are now in the process of coming back. And in the short run, prices rise. I'll give you an example. The supply chain business. So the biggest port in America is LA, is Long Beach in LA, California. And the ships were backed up and nobody could unload the cargoes. But now all of that is passing. It's getting straightened out by normal, business market forces. So deliveries are going to improve, and that's going to bring down prices. The same is true for commodities. Now, that's not to say this, because I am concerned with the risk of inflation. If the Federal Reserve keeps pumping out large quantities of free money, and if Biden's tax hikes go through, you're going to choke off the supply side of the economy. You're not going to get the production. So therefore, you'll have too much money chasing too few goods. And that would be a long-term inflation problem, okay? That would be.
Right.
I just don't know yet. You may know more, but nobody knows what's going to happen with the corporate taxes and all the other capital gains taxes and so forth. Is it going to get through? Reconciliation work? I think the Fed is so far playing its cards okay. I'm more worried about jacking up taxes and regulations, and also destroying our energy sector.
That's right.
These are crazy people. The Green New Deal is crazy, and we do have issues. I'm not a climate denier, but I am a denier that it's a existential threat. The official reports do not show that. Even the worst case show. What's his name? The guy who was the energy scientist for Obama. He just has a book out called Unsettled. If my brain works here, I'll think of his name in a minute. But the point is, even the official reports from the Energy Department or the International Energy Agency, at the worst case possible, like a 4-degree jump in the next 90 years, would take 1/500th of 1% off of GDP. That's all.
Right.
And if you would, tax cuts and deregulation would solve that right away. I'm killing myself. I can't think of the.
I think
guy.
is his name Stephen Koonin?
Yeah, it's Steve Koonin. Thank you.
Yeah.
Steve Koonin's new book, Unsettled, and all he's saying is that what the media and some politicians are reporting is untrue, based on the official reports from the Energy Department and the IEA. It's just not true. They're creating this hysteria.
Yeah.
And what they'll wind up doing is setting timetables and choking off production and pipelines, as they've already done in the XL, in Anwar, and that will decimate the economy. I mean, it will decimate the economy. I'm in favor of electric vehicles, okay? I know Elon Musk, and he's a smart guy, and I've ridden in his cars. But you can't say in 5 or 10 years all combustion engines must be gone.
Right.
We can't do that. We don't even have the batteries to do it. We don't even have the critical raw materials to produce the damn batteries. So
that's
right. Stuff is crazy.
Something worth thinking about, right? Something worth thinking about, whether you have the batteries to actually accomplish the mission.
I mean, it's just, we don't. And by the way, in order to generate the raw materials, what is it? Lithium is one of them. That will create global. That will.
That's
release
right.
Carbon.
That's right.
So the craziness. I mean, these are crazy people. That's all.
That's all.
I don't know if they may be socialists or some weird brand of AOC, Bernie Sanders socialism, but I don't want to make that judgment call. I just know they're crazy people, and they're going to destroy the economy.
Well, we'll send a couple of bags of chicken Viagra down and see if we can't reverse all these problems they've started.
That would really help. It's the prairie. It's. Oh, by the way, I want to get this right. It's the male prairie chicken.
Okay. Gender specific. All right. Well, it's nice to know that they're binary in the chicken world still. I keep track of what chicken is what. Larry, let me ask you, you've had an incredible career. Wall Street, TV, White House. Where did the last year in the White House rank in terms of, were you having any fun? The consequential nature of the work that you were doing was through the roof, right? I mean, this is a generational event that has happened, and you were able to pilot what was the best economy that we've had certainly in the last 100 years through the worst pandemic we've had in 100 years. Where does that rank on your scale?
Well, it was a tough year. It's a very difficult year because you get blindsided, by a once in a century kind of event. And I sat on the Pence COVID task force. They had Mnuchin and I on there for economic policy input. Look, I've always felt, first of all, Josh, it was NEC director for me was a job of a lifetime. It was a wonderful opportunity, a great blessing. And as you may know, I had worked as the OMB deputy 40 years earlier under Ronald Reagan, which was a wonderful experience also. But this one, it was a difficult year, but I've always said this was a hard year for every single American. This was a hard thing. First of all, with the casualties of COVID, and second of all, the shutdown, the lockdown, which was very, very damaging. Not only did it put the economy out, but it was very damaging for the kids. It was very damaging for the parents. There are a lot of psychological costs involved, economic costs involved, and it was difficult. But I think the anxiety level for everybody. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people. I've talked to shrinks. I've talked to doctors. It's a tough year.
Yeah.
And I hope it doesn't happen for another 100 years, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
But here's the wonderful thing. You know, optimism is part of my DNA. You look at what's happening with the economy today. The economy is now booming. And we've come alive because of the vaccines. And even though Biden won't admit it, that was Trump's vaccine from Operation Warp Speed.
Yep.
And that was probably the single most important thing. You know, we financed these pharmaceutical companies. We financed them. We bought their inventory before they had an inventory. And we used the American private sector with their creativity, you know, the Pfizers of the world and so forth.
Yep.
And it worked, okay? It worked. It's uniquely American, but it worked. So
Yep. No
now,
question about it. The rest of the
we're-
world is trying to figure out how to catch up at this point, and I think it's a perfect time to be incredibly proud to be an American with this kind of system, because you look at what's happening in Europe and Canada, for crying out loud. I mean, it's even right in our border.
Yep, I agree. And, you know, that's a remarkable achievement. It shows the benefits of the free enterprise system. And the tragedy is that the Bidens are basically trying to take down the free enterprise system. I mean, their policies are assaulting investment and productivity and creativity and risk. And they, you know, they're class warriors. They want to go after so-called rich people. None of these tax hikes that they ever get through will generate the revenue they think they're going to get. It will damage the economy enormously. It will turn a post-pandemic boom into a bust. And it's exactly the wrong direction. Centralized government planning, Josh, never works.
Never.
Okay?
Never.
The Soviet Union, Eastern Europe, Venezuela, Cuba, even China. You look at what they're doing in China. President Xi is, you know, dictator for life, but they are centralizing the Chinese economy, and they're going to get worse and worse results from that, by the by. So Biden's wrong way and has to be defeated, in my opinion. We have to stop the reconciliation bills. We have to stop the Green New Deal, and we have to whoop them next year and retake Congress, which I think we can do, by the way.
Hear, 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 hear. That is a prescription we can get on board with. Larry, I got 3 quick questions and I'll get you out of here. These are the ones that the listeners of the program appreciate the most. So here goes the first one. Your last meal on earth, what would it be?
Oh, it would be Dover sole.
Oh, very good. Very good. Any particular place to have this Dover sole? Is it just any Dover sole will do?
Dover sole is Dover sole. I like it grilled. The best in New York was La Grenouille, which is probably the finest restaurant in New York. But I don't know if they're going to reopen. I'm quite worried about that. On the other hand, if you want a Dover sole on the cheap, Nicola's, which is a fabulous Italian restaurant in the Upper East Side of New York, they have excellent Dover sole. Dover sole Amandine.
Love it. Those are good recommendations. All right. So Larry, if you were never involved in your job as an economist, in your nexus in politics, what would you want to be doing with your life?
I wanted to win Wimbledon.
There you go. I knew we could count on you for a good answer there.
I wanted to win Wimbledon. I was a good college tennis player. I played in prep school. I played the juniors. I played college. But unfortunately, there comes a time when you go out to like the Orange Bowl for the Eastern Junior Championships, and you run up against the good-looking California, and you lose 6-love, and you win 3 points because the other guy double faulted twice and missed a net shot. that you kind of realize that you're going to have to put your nose to the grindstone and seek other work.
Ran into a wood chipper. Oh, that's good. That's good. And I didn't know that, Larry. That's a great little tidbit. Really good tidbit.
I still play a strong tennis game.
I bet.
I play a couple times a week. But I really wanted to win Wimbledon.
I love it. All right, so third and final question. What motivates Larry Kudlow more, the thrill of victory or the agony of defeat?
Well, in terms of my life's experience, it's the agony of defeat.
Mm-hmm.
I love victories. I love to win. I like to be part of the team that accomplishes some really great things. But in my personal life, Josh, I've had my ups and downs, and I had a pretty rough crash and burn. Actually, 26 years ago. I'm coming up to my 26th sober and clean anniversary.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you, buddy. And I look back on things, and I think that was what motivated me, to go back to faith and to change my life and my behavior and make better decisions. So it was the agony of that defeat that was a real turning point in my life.
What a terrific answer. Larry Kudlow, I can't thank you enough for sharing your time and giving us some insights. You're the best in the business. Really appreciate it.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Josh. Thanks a lot. Anytime.
Great interview. Like I said, the guy is a legend. I hugely appreciate him coming on the show, and that's a nice little treat for the Minions, especially on this Candy and Kudlow episode.
So great. Great to have a Friday episode.
His suggestion about chicken Viagra was my favorite.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that anywhere else.
That's for Friday,
the variety program, only on Friday, chicken Viagra.
So I hope all the Minions and our listeners enjoyed this, another week with 3 episodes. What a banger. What a treat, folks. And thank you all for listening. Keep telling your friends, hit that subscribe, leave us questions, leave us 5-star reviews. So until next time, Minions, keep the faith, hold the line, and own the libs. We'll see you on Tuesday. Stay ruthless.